Camera A. Alrighty, I think everything's all set up. Yeah. Go over here. Good. Oh, you guys can't see me. Green on. Green on. Hello, everyone. It's me. I'm back again with another day of pottery. I got a couple of things I'm going to do today, so I'm going to make 3 more pots, and that's it. So that's the couple things. And then I got to get ready to go to work here. I got a long day. Wednesdays are like my busiest days, but I got to wake up and I got to get this stuff done in the morning. But I'm not going to roll the intro because it's a little bit too high energy, and I'm not feeling like that, like crazy high energy right now. So I'm just going to start and walk right in over there and start it up. So camera C, camera C. Here we go. All right. Oh, wait. Camera A, green off. Camera C. There you go. Sorry, I just gotta turn that off or else it's gonna act weird. Good morning, ceramics. Oh my gosh, Erica, you know it. All right. So funny. Congratulations, Erica. I saw you posted a whole bunch about the Nsika stuff. It seems like you had an amazing experience. So it was nice getting to watch that unfold. But here we are. We're getting some more ceramics in the bottom here. Alright. Some more ceramics in the bottom. What am I even talking about? Too early in the morning. I'm going crazy. Okay. There we go. We're just going to wedge this up real quick. We don't need to do a crazy wedge. We just need to get it acceptable. So, there we go. So there's one. This is still, I will work on that a little bit before I set it on the wheel. There we go. This is number 2. Nice. This would be number 3. And then we're going to swap over to camera B. I'm going to walk in front of here quick. I got to get some more new water in my water bucket. I feel like I needed to just design a really nice water bucket. I feel like when I use my water here, I feel like every time I have one problem with every single object I use for it. And so I think I just need to sit down one day and like throw like a really nice little water container. But here we go. I'm gonna grab our chunk. I'll get right to the bottom here. Okay. Here we are. Add some water on this bottom edge. Take that out there. Okay. Roll that around. Okay. Press this down. And again, always those 2 lanes of traffic. You got that forward oncoming and outgoing traffic. And they're coming across each other. And that's what's keeping it on center. Alright, look at them coming across each other. And that's what's keeping it on center. When you start getting lower, project that clay at the bottom forward a little bit. It'll keep it so the top doesn't get so wacky. And then you can really control the clay here. I think I could probably turn my music up a little bit. Hold on. Music. We're feeling very ethereal today. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but I hope so. Okay, I take my fist, I push down, right? And I'm always bringing my fist from the inside, that center point, over to my left hand here. That's like wedged in my hip. And that's what's gonna allow it to get that hockey puck centered, you know? I'm pushing down ever so slightly, create a little pond, add some water in the pond. You don't want to let the tadpoles dry out. Finger towards the bottom a little bit, start scratching that chalkboard on that bottom layer there. And you want to feel like you're cutting through the clay, right? And then that way, the clay will move way easier. You don't have to use as much strength, right? All right, here we go. Create a little ring. And then we're going to do our first little llama pole. And want to get it into almost like a little volcano, right? A little volcano. And then from this point, we're going to take this bottom edge here, run our knuckle right underneath, push our knuckle in ever so slightly, right? And we're trying to imagine like an upside down ice cream cone on the inside of our pots. Right? You don't want to aim, because it's spinning. If you just go straight up, it's going to want to flare out a little bit, right? You kind of want to go up and in whenever you're throwing here. Right, again, right down to the bottom. Use my knuckle again. We'll do one more knuckle pull. I don't want to go too thin on that top edge, right? So I'm going to go a little bit more water on the inside. I'm going to press this down ever so slightly so I can have a new separation. We'll do one more pull. And now there's this little bump. You got to be careful. You don't want to have too many fingers touching the wall. Right now I have 2 fingers on the inside touching the wall. That's it. You know, sometimes, you know, your pointer finger, your pinky will start like really, oh wait, am I out of focus? Hold on, sometimes I can't tell. No, that looks pretty good. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Sorry, sometimes there's nothing worse than when I'm like recording and then all of a sudden I look back at the recording and like half the video is blurry. I have a couple of my videos on my YouTube like that and it's like, it always feels like painful to post those ones. Okay. Here we go. Water on this edge a little bit. We're going to do a little collar. So we're going to start very slow on this inside edge. And get up to probably about here. We're going to switch our hand positioning to be more, we're trying to accept that top edge here, right? So you can see our collar is always like, almost like a pole. I mean, we got quite a bit of height out of that too, right? And we're getting it a little bit more narrow. Right? A little bit of water back at the bottom there. A bit of water on our forearm because it's going to be riding against that edge there. And then this first pull that we're going to do, coming back to the clay, is just an equalizing pull. Right? We're not trying to get too much height. We're just trying to get these walls a little bit more even. And I guess we probably could do one more pull because I do have some, now I have some fresh thickness on this bottom edge here, and so I think that could be kind of nice. So let's get that going. So we go to the bottom of the clay and we say, hey clay, you got any jobs for us, my friend? And the clay says, yeah, here we go. Here's a little bump. I want you to take this little bump all the way up the side of the pot here. Again, you guys see how slow we're going. There we right? And so when you're throwing, it's really all about like trying to listen to what the clay is saying to you. Every single chunk of clay, every time you sit on the wheel, really try to listen to see what the clay is telling you. It'll tell you when it's about to fall, or it'll tell you when it's going to rip, right? And so you kind of just got to like listen to it. And so part of that is going a little bit slower. If you speed through it, imagine trying to have a conversation with somebody in a Ferrari, and the Ferrari's going like, I don't know, 200 miles per hour with the windows down, right? You're not going to be able to. But now try to have a talk in a minivan on the way to soccer practice at 20 miles per hour through a school zone. You're going to be freaking listening to every single word that person's saying. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to go right out to this edge. I kind of like the lines here. They look really uniform. So I'm just going to not even worry about that. I'm going to start kind of in this middle part here. Okay. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And I'm going to emphasize on this bottom edge a little bit. So I'm going to push in more with my finger. And I'm just doing this because I want it to try to collapse a little bit more. Sometimes if that top edge is too thin, it's not going to want to collapse. And so I think something that you can do is you can just emphasize this bottom edge, and you can give it a little bit more likelihood to collapse on that middle part. And so here we go, getting some water right on this top rim here. Having my fingers down inside, slowly pushing this out. Really going out sideways as much as we can. Hold that edge ever so slightly and just allow it to drop in place. This one looks pretty nice. And then we're going to go down to the bottom of this edge here. We're going to take up this clay. And there we go, push that in. So now, like this is, I always say this is where people like to cut that stuff off, right? But for me, I think it's always potential down here, right? Potential for all sorts of things, right? You just got to find it. That's part of it, guys, you know. A lot of things are there, you just haven't learned to see them yet. And so you got to find out what in your life that you want to kind of find, and you got to really look for it, right? Oh, look, it collapsed a little bit on that edge. You can see a little water fissure, so that's when it gets really thin, and it's overhydrating the clay particles, and it will just fissure rather than like a drying crack. It's like a hydration fissure. So here we go. We're gonna cut these along this edge. 1, maybe we'll do that. 2. All right. 3. Okay. 4. 5. I guess we'll do 6. And we're gonna curl these up. And you know, we might do some interesting undulation where we're gonna go 1 forward, or 1 back, and 1 over, and then really try to make something happen with this kind of pattern, because now we have 6 of them, so we can kind of make something even on that bottom edge. So we can curl this one up, and then curl this one over. Trying to do something interesting with every one that we do here. So curl this one up, and curl this one over. Alright, now we have some cool in, out, in, out. Right, now we have a really interesting bottom happening here. I think it's kind of exciting. Carve off that bottom edge. It looks nice. Look at that. There's number 1. Kind of looks nice. Has a little fissure there, but that's kind of okay. Camera C. Let's see. Okay, nobody in right now. That's okay. While nobody's here, I'm gonna go check, see if on my YouTube I'm streaming. Okay, I am. Sweet. Sometimes I feel like my YouTube doesn't stream properly. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. It doesn't recognize my stream key or whatever, how it works. Pushing this down. Get a little bit of water on here. Carve this off. Okay, I'm gonna get over here. I'm gonna get this another chunk of clay, push this on the wheel. All right, camera B. Camera B. Okay, push this down. Here we go. Looking pretty good. Again, we're gonna start off with that push and that pull. And we're gonna go up a little bit, right? And you're gonna go back down to that bottom edge. You don't need to do this last one, but the last one's for fun. Really take it to the limit. Curl it around. Here we go, look at that. Bring our hammer fist down on top. Push this down. Bring it towards your palm ever so slightly. There you go. Now you got it centered. Okay? Push our thumbs down, straighten that middle part. Wasn't perfectly centered, so we got to be aware of that as we go down. And then when we get to this bottom, we really want to use our tips of our fingers to carve out the bottom, right? And it's that cutting through the clay that's going to kind of keep it closer to center and make it easier for us to pull all that stuff, all that clay outward a little bit. So once we get out here, we're going to keep our hands still for just a second. I'm going to slowly bring the clay inward. We're going to make this little volcano and saying, hello, volcano, we meet again. Right? Always do something with that volcano. There's potential to do something at this stage, but I just am not doing it yet on these pots. I feel like one of these days I will, just not yet. And I'm opening that back up just a little bit so I can fit my hand in there. Knuckle on this bottom edge. I'm really using my knuckle as a tool to equalize the clay. And I don't want to go, I gotta be careful because when I go narrow, I gotta go wide, right? So I gotta remember that this is getting wider, so I gotta keep some thickness up there, or else it's gonna get totally ruined, right? So again, we're going back down to the bottom. And I think we got one more little knuckle pull, and bring that base in ever so slightly. And loosen up our pressure as we get to the top there. Nice job, guys. Nice job. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we want to separate this bottom edge down. And so there's not that much clay down there now. And then, you know what? We'll do one bump pull, and then we'll go into so we get the bump. Again. Be very light with our hands there. Water that just a little bit. Then go right down to this base. We're going to do one collar here. Get the collar up to about that. So now we can fit our hands underneath. And when I'm doing this, I'm really trying to make it pretty centered. Also, we wanted to get some height out of this too, right? And so there we go. Go right down to the base here. Be okay with our hand opening and touching the sides, right? The main thing is that you just want to be able to get to the bottom, but you got to go slow though. You can't speed through that part there. And then we're doing an equalizing pull. And all this is doing is trying to equalize the collar a little bit, because you're going to have some uneven spots. And as you get to the top here, you're going to slow down ever so slightly. Make sure you're still pushing outwards with those fingers. And then we probably got, realistically, we got one more good pull while this here, and then we got to get into the next part. So here we go at the bottom. And the clay gives us a little bump. Right, we're going to be light with the bump at the beginning here because it's a little bit thin on the bottom. And right here we can get a little bit more drastic. And we can go out wider on this top edge. So we're not going to be too worried about that, because this is going to be the tree top anyway. So if we can go a little bit wider right now, it's totally chill. Okay, if I'm looking at this, there's a couple things I need to do. First, I need to get the water out of this thing. Second, I gotta make this bottom look a little bit more intentional. So I'm gonna go right down to the bottom here. I'm gonna make a little spiral. So I have my finger down. I'm gonna say, okay, ready, set, go. Stop. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to start our spiral twist thing here at the bottom here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Right down this bottom edge. And see how it kind of just wants to sit down there. Oh, got a little rip, but that's okay. I'm just gonna let it slowly rest. And so you can see how thin we get. But that's okay if it rips, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes these things, I always think of them as, each of them is a song in a genre, right? Or an album, you know? Not every song in that album, like, is hitting great, you know? But the songs, like, there is one song on the album that hits, and it may be because of the others around it, right? And so it's all about context. And so when all these pots come together, how are they talking to each other? And I think it's good to have a different voice in a lot of the objects that you're making, you know? Okay. Right down to this bottom edge here. This looks, we'll see after this pull, but this looks like it might be another one where we, you know, have some slices. Take our finger right on this bottom edge, add some water here. Add some water right on this underneath. Some water on this underneath. Getting right up on this bottom edge. I'm slowly pulling this out. Okay. Yeah, I think we can use the wire on this one. So maybe we'll do it the same as the other one, or maybe we'll switch it up. I don't know. So here we are, right on this middle part here. I'm slicing. I'm slicing. I'm slicing. I'm slicing. I'm slicing. There's this bird this morning that was driving me crazy. It kept saying the same exact song. And it's okay, I like birds. Well, actually, I don't really like birds, but I really didn't like the song this bird was singing. It was annoying the hell out of me. I was like, bro, bird, shut up. So I had to come down here, because if I didn't, I was going to go crazy. Okay. There we go. Curl this up into the pot. Look at that. Nice. Curl this up into the pot. Nice. Curl. And curl this up into the pot. Nice. Curl, 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 curl. Done. Okay, so there's number 2, y'all. I really am liking the way that these bottoms of these trees end up looking. I think they're kind of nice. And so I'm kind of excited to, maybe I'll do 100 of them. Just because I think they're kind of a cool form. I want to make sure I give them some attention. Let's see. Let's go over here. Thank you. Somebody on the YouTube, Talimir Ortiz Santiago, said, so dope. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And then somebody named Kate said something in a language I don't understand, but thank you again. I appreciate it. I'm going to go over here to the wheel and go back. No, oh yeah, camera C. Camera C. There we go. And so we got our last chunk of clay over here, y'all. Okie dokie. A little bit of water on here. Okay. Rotate that a little bit. Let me push this down ever so slightly. Okay, there we go. I think somebody said something. Let's see. I'll find out in a second. I'm sorry, Kate. I don't understand. I think that's some type of Slavic language. But thank you for commenting. I hope you enjoy pottery stuff. All right. Camera B. Okay. Here we go again. We have that push and we got that pull, and we're going up ever so slightly. Nice. I'm going back down to this bottom edge. I'm pulling this up. We can do this one more time. You see how it's a little bit wobbly, but as we're at this bottom edge here, project it forward ever so slightly. That way you can kind of keep it up. Right? Slow the wheel down. I always say that that's like one of the most fun parts about this whole process. I feel like nowadays, since I'm doing all the recording, I gotta have little moments for me that I think are kind of cool. If in my process, if I don't have little cool moments, then I feel like I'm, wasting some time a little bit. Here I go. Fist comes down. We're bringing it gently towards our palm, and that's what's getting us something like a hockey puck, right? We'll do it one more time. We got to go a little bit lower. Bring it right to our palm. Nice. And it's not perfect, so we just want to give it a little bit more attention here. There we go. That's good enough. Gently push our thumbs down ever so slightly. Nice. Get a little bit of water right in this edge here. Bring your fingers towards yourself. Start carving out this inside. And you really want it to feel like you're scratching your fingers against that chalkboard, right? Push my fingers down a little bit. We probably got one more on this inside here. And then we'll do a little spiral. Make it look clean, even though nobody's going to be able to see the inside. This is for if one of them breaks and somebody wants to look at the inside of the pot. And they'll be like, oh, attention to detail on the inside there. Whoa, that one that ripped totally freaking fell apart. That thing looks crazy over there. I'll show you guys in a second. Anyway, we got llama pole coming in. And we're trying to make this little volcano, I always say. Look at that. Gonna rest our finger right on that top edge. We got our volcano, and we're gonna bring our knuckle right over to that bottom. I just push that in, right? Look at that. Nice job. Again, we got probably one more we can do on this bottom edge here. We don't want to go too much on this top edge, but just enough to give it some life. Okay. I'm going to push down ever so slightly down here. And I'm going to create another little bump. And taking a little bump up the side of the pot. We're going to lessen up our pressure as we get up. And then I saw a channel here, so I'm going to go slow through that channel that we created. Nice, look at that. That looks pretty good, y'all. Okay, now I'm going to go down to the bottom here. Wet this ever so slightly. I'm going to push this in. Alright. Look at that. That's pretty good. Okay. Here we go. And we're going to do our equalizing pull right now. Remember, this pull is all about just getting that clay as equal as we can. Because I think we probably got, realistically, we got one more pull out of this. Do we want to take that risk? I think maybe we do. Okay, a little bit more water right on our arm there. And then we always say, hey clay, what do you got for us down here? You got a quest? And the clay says, yes. I have this bump, and I need you to take this bump all the way up the side of the pot here. Nice. So there's a poll. Looks like we have some more people commenting. Let's see. Alex, he's doing it. Thanks. I really wish I could speak whatever language you're talking, Kate. You've commented 4 times. That's very nice of you. I feel like there's a way that I can automatically translate chat, but I haven't discovered that plugin or the program yet. Okay, again, we're going right down to the bottom edge here. Take some of this clay off this edge. Bring this down ever so slightly. Now we're going to create something a little bit spicy on this bottom edge. So we're going to give it a little spiral. So breathe and go. Stop. It's nerve-wracking, right? Okay. I'm going to start right above. I'm going to start feeding this into some slices. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to emphasize these slices ever so slightly. So then we go to collapse it. wants to collapse more towards the bottom and not as much towards the top area. With our fingers ever so slightly, slowly pull our fingers out. We can let them sit for a second. And they might collapse, but they might not. Look at that. Give that top rim a little bit extra love. There you go. Right. If you want to see the insides of them, camera C. Camera C. So you can see the inside swirl here, and I think that looks pretty crazy. I'm a really big fan of some of these interiors, and I think the rim is almost like a little framing device for some of the shapes that you get on the interior there. And I always think one little rose sticking out of here or something would be crazy. Anyway, camera B. Camera B. Thank you. Oh, it looks like it might collapse too. We'll see. It looks like you see how it has some rocking on that top edge. Look at that. Looks pretty good. Again, we're taking our pinky right at the base. We don't want to destroy this edge here. If I'm looking at this, we definitely need to cut this one, but I kind of want to make sure I cut it a little bit more longer because we have a longer base to sort of make up for here, right? Okay. So we got 3 long ones. Let's see how far we can bring these up the side of the pots. I'm really trying to breathe some life into these edges here. Have them really curl up the sides. Bring these in. This top one. A little bit wacky on this one here. Okay, there you go. So, and again, we're trying to give as much life as we can into some of these pots. This one feels a little bit sterile, I'll be honest, compared to the first one is the one that has the most life to it. But we'll set this one here. 1. And we'll get number 2 underneath these. Looking good. Alright, chill out there. I don't want you to totally fall off this edge. Nice. Bring number 2 down. I really like number 2. I think this one is really speaking a good, oh, camera A. Camera A. Yeah, there you go. You can see them a little bit better now. Really, I feel like that. It's just speaking such a good language right now. Okay. We'll try with just the... I think I will need the little boost. The Lazy Susan here. I'll have it right in this middle part. And look at this one. This one totally just ripped and fell apart here on this edge. Kind of a cool happening. Right? Look at that. Kind of looks crazy. Looks like it's just ripped open. Like a can. You know? That's actually pretty good visually. Okay, I'm gonna get over here now. And then that's the pots for today, y'all. I really appreciate you coming to watch. All right, hold on. Green on. All right, so if I'm looking at some of these, I'm gonna look over here at this one first. I think first of all, this one, it's a little bit too cylindrical, right? There's not a lot of personality, but I think there's some cool things happening. I like how small and how half the pot is the tree and half the pot is this bottom spiral with the tendrils. I think that looks really nice. And then if I go over here, I think that this one really does what I want these trees to do the best. I have a little tear on that right side over there. Is that right? Maybe for you guys it is. And then I think the spirals and the tendrils on the bottom are just doing just enough to splay it out ever so slightly. So then there's a nice contrast between the bottom, that tightness of the middle, and again, that release on the top. And then if we look at the one in the back, this one is crazy. So I went too thin on that rim there, right? On when I was pulling that treetop out, and it got too thin, it ripped and teared, and now it looks like it's falling apart, but still some of it's resting on some of that internal twist, so it's supporting it, so it's still keeping it up, right? And so I think that just breathes enough intention into it where it's a little bit more acceptable. Thank you guys so much for watching. All the best, and strong mentality.